Welcome back, hackers. Today I just opened this website and went to this ranking page, and I saw that my ranking is 2328 and country rank is 36, and I felt like it kind of sucks. So it's better to pump up these ranks. So today that's the from today we'll be starting another series in the Over the Wire, which is Behemoth. So in this uh, in 2 to 3 videos or 2 to 3 live streams, we will complete this Behemoth war games, and it's a bit tricky. And if I go to this war boxes page, I can see that Behemoth exists over here. So let's check this thing, and looks like I have completed these things. Interesting. Let me check what it is. Give me a second. Just a minute. Okay, right. So I have reached till Behemoth 6. So I have to solve Behemoth 6 to get to Behemoth 7 and Behemoth 7 to get to Behemoth 8. So let's get started with Behemoth 6. And what's the password? The password is this. So let's get started. All right. Um, we have to go to Behemoth and let's check Behemoth 6. Okay, incorrect output. Should I give some output? Nothing. And Behemoth 6 also has Behemoth 6 reader. Let's see what it does. Okay, it says couldn't open shellcode.txt. Okay, so let's ltrace that. 6 underscore reader. It tries to open this shellcode.txt file, and since it cannot open this, so the output is could not open the shellcode.txt. Interesting. So what do we do? Let's try to ltrace this thing. Ltrace this. Okay. It tries to open Behemoth 6 reader and then tries to read certain location and then close something, and then it says string compare this with this. String comparison of this, right, with this Hello Kitty. So the output of Behemoth 6 reader is taken as input for Behemoth 6. Okay, so the only thing that we need to worry about is Behemoth 6 reader. So let's copy that, and hey John Smith, thanks for being here. We're just working out Behemoth 6. Hope you're doing well. So let's see. What do we have? Um, right. So let's try to use Pound Debugger to analyze this thing. So Pound Debugger, just copy paste this, and Pound Debugger Behemoth 6 underscore reader. Okay, I'm just checking the reader file. Just hit enter and disassemble main. Okay. Okay, we have some push value here. So let's try to analyze this. Okay, it's shellcode.txt, and okay, John Smith says I'm good, thanks. Your channel is really useful. Okay, um, thank you so much. It really pushes us or motivates us to do more. So let's analyze this thing. Write your own shellcode. Okay, so let's come with the flow. So first of all, it tries to open certain file and then it cannot, and then it has puts function which says something. Okay, I don't know what this puts function says. So x/s. Okay, couldn't open the shellcode.txt. So if it was able to open shellcode.txt, which is this one, if it was able to open it, then it would probably go somewhere around here, right? Hmm. And looks like there is a limit of how much memory that shell code has to be. Interesting. So to check how much this is, you can see this. It is 4096 bytes of data. So it's well enough. I mean, we use small shell codes, right? But that should be enough. So don't worry about this. Let's see what we have here. We have one more puts function. I think this is the same thing. And it says write your own shell code. Hmm. So if we try to use some existing shell code, it should return with write your own shell code. So let's try to analyze that. For example, let me say mktemp-t. This would create a new directory and I'm gonna name it as temp, and I will give full permissions to this temp directory and cd to $temp. Okay, so now I will say shellcode. I will just touch that file, shellcode.txt, just an empty shell. So let's see what happens. And now I will try to run that Behemoth 6 reader file. Hmm. So it runs normally, but now it just exits out with some error. Hmm. So let's try to keep some shellcode inside this shellcode.txt. So just nano this, and what do we have? We use shellcode 606. So this is the one we always use for this war games. So this has this bin bash and dash p. So if I just copy paste that, it should look something like this. Okay, and let me see the context. But if I use it like this, it should probably not execute properly. Hmm. So in this case, what should I do? Okay, I would use the same thing, but slightly modified or executed version. So I'll just close this. I will say echo dash e and then execute this code directly here. And the output of this should go to shellcode.txt. Okay, so now if I try to cat this, you can see that it is bin bash. So now let's go back and execute Behemoth reader. Okay, so it was able to detect that I am using some existing shell code. So it does not allow us to use our existing shell code. So we have to create our own shell code. So to create our own shell code, there are some tools. For example, there are some pound tools. But to execute pound tools, you should just use pound. Okay, and pound, you can say shellcraft and dash L to list whatever that we want. And basically we want a shell code, so that's why we say shellcraft and list something. So what do we want to list is we want to list something that executes Hello Kitty. And as you saw before, our original Behemoth file is trying to compare Hello Kitty, right? So we want something that prints out Hello Kitty. So we can say something like an echo command. Okay. For example, if you say echo Hello Kitty, it would just print out Hello Kitty, right? So this should be the output for that Behemoth 6 reader file, right? So we will just use echo command. And which echo command should we use? We should use something that is Linux, right? But which Linux? Is this ARM or AMD 64 or i386? Right? So that's the question. So you say uname dash a, and here you see x86-64, right? You don't see anything like AMD or ARM or something like that, right? So you use this thing, right? And you say pound shellcraft and give this thing, and finally you say hello kitty. This is the string that we want, right? So let's see its output. Okay, so it just outputs this thing. So this seems to be a possible shellcode, right? So if I just execute this and finally send that output to shellcode.txt, so the output is now shellcode.txt. And as you can see, there is Hello Kitty, right? You cannot see properly, but Hello Kitty is there inside that. So now let's use the same command. So let's try to use Behemoth 6 reader, which is this, and it outputs Hello Kitty, right? So if I try to run Behemoth 6 file, it would take the output of Behemoth 6 reader, which is Hello Kitty, and then it will try to compare this with Hello Kitty. So it would bypass this, and we should get a shell. So let's try that. And as you can see, it says correct, and we got a shell. So let's say who am I? Behemoth 7, and let's try to find Behemoth 7 password. So type file name Behemoth 7 and send all the errors to /dev/null. So now we got these two things. So this is the password. So just cat this, and we got this as the password. So let's save it. And finally, let's go to Behemoth 7, exit out of here, and exit out of here as well. And let's go to Behemoth 7 and paste the password, and we're done. So once we are here, we should execute vshell. So this would update our score in this vshell website. So if I just reload this, I no longer have that rank. I am in par with this Bloodluster. So let's see who he is. And he also uses this, and he also uses this website called Yoer. Okay, this website seems to not exist. It says nada, which means nothing. Okay, so probably nothing or something hidden, we don't know. But as of now, we have the same score. So let's try to go to the next level. Or first of all, let me change this score. And as you can see, this is the score. I changed the score. And what is the country score? Country rank 34. Okay, pretty cool. So let's go to country rank. Okay, country rank. Oh shit. Okay, pretty cool. So next, let's go to Behemoth 7 and let's try to finish this thing. So CD Behemoth and Behemoth 7. Nothing. So let's try to do ltrace with Behemoth 7. Okay, looks like this is made 0. Is that right? Looks like all these environment variables are becoming 0. Hmm. So we cannot work with environment variables anymore. For example, you cannot use something like export shellcode and give your shellcode to get your shellcode. Hmm. So let's try to give some arguments, something like Behemoth 7, some random characters. Let's use ltrace on that. Okay. So when I use ltrace, it just uses string copy command to copy this to this. Interesting. So what if I try to overflow this and see what happens? Because whenever we use string copy, it uses some limit of bytes. So we have to mention the number of bytes. So if you bypass that, we should be able to overflow this and we should be able to point the return address to the shellcode. So let's see how we do that. And here, let's see. Okay, let's use pound debugger. Looks like I have already done. Pound debugger, pound debugger, Behemoth 7. Da, 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 da. Okay, so this as main. So this is a huge file, and let's see what we have here. Hmm. Let's see the function where the string copy is. String copy. Okay. So while using string copy, it takes these arguments, okay, whatever the arguments are. And if you see this line, and I have already pasted this line over here, it has some important function that we don't understand. But if you try to check what this value is, EBP is base pointer. From the base, it is trying to extract or remove these number of bytes. So if I remove that, so that should be added to string copy. Okay. So how many bytes is string copy taking? So if I use p/d and if I use this, I would get the decimal value of this hexadecimal value, right? So I'll say print the decimal value of this. So hit enter and it is 524. And if you add 4 bytes to it, it should be the maximum buffer of string copy. Okay, so let me use uh, so yeah, let me show here. So as you can see, 524 plus 4 is the max buffer for the string copy. So if you use more than 528, it should be like buffer overflow, right? So to prove that, so let's use this thing. I will just run it and I should also use like 528 characters of A. So hit enter, and if I scroll up, I don't see any error because the max buffer is valid, right? So it did not overflow any max buffer. So if I use some extra character or some append some extra character, let's see what happens. For example, if I use 32 over here, it should cause error, and the return address is overwritten by 0x41414141. And if I use that same thing again, but if I use the same 28 and append 4 B's, so let's see what happens. So now the return address has been overwritten by 4 B's, right? So if I use shellcode, I should keep it over here. But I cannot use environment variable. But can I use some more characters after this return address in the memory? So what I mean by that is, if I try to use, okay, we have something over here, but let's not worry about that. So with this, what I will do is, I will use the same string, and I will also append, or else I will try to check if hex characters are valid over here. For example, if I say \x12, it's like the hex character, and while executing this, it would automatically convert into a hexadecimal of 12. Okay, so this should be in memory. So if I use these many times of 520, if I use this hex byte of, for example, like 528 times, and after this we should get 4 on 4, 42, 42, 42, 42. But we should check whether it is accepting here. I mean, in this buffer itself, in the string copy buffer. So let's hit enter, and as you can see, it says non-alpha characters found in the string, possible shellcode, which means that program, whichever this is not accepting non-alpha characters in this buffer. So will it accept after this buffer? So let's check that. Let's send it back to capital A's, and let's check by appending this thing with \x12. Let's see what happens. And it's better if I do it twice just to check. Okay, it's not typing anything, something wrong. Okay, possibly network error. Just hit Control C. Okay, just append \x12 just hit enter. Okay, it says non-alpha characters. Okay, I forgot to change it to capital A. Okay, so now if you see, I have 4 B's in the return address, and I have 0x12, 0x12. So let me check this inside the memory. So how do you check it? You say, yeah, x/20 words in X format, and I want from the base pointer, because from there, okay, cannot access because why? Just a second. cannot access this memory because I did not use any breakpointers. Okay, for example, if I say disas of main, and let me keep some breakpointer over here, and if I say break at this, now if I use this and x slash s base pointer, and as you can see I have these 4 2's and I have these 1 2's as well, which is interesting. So once I have these 1 2's, uh, I can inject some hexadecimal characters after this. So what if I keep shell code right here, address of the shell code here, because this is what this is, right? So what do I mean by that? I'm going to keep this right here, and I'm going to check where this return address is going to be. And as you can see, this is the return address. Something wrong. Okay. Okay, let me check the stack before I do anything else. And I say x slash x EBP, and I have this right here, but yeah, it's not in order because there is a 0 byte over here. Okay, it's not a 0 byte, it's just the memory address. So if I use something like this, you will understand. Okay, okay. So if this is the memory address, which is like 4 more bytes, and if you see from 8 to 8, it is like 16 bytes of data. So 4 4 4 4 will be like 16. So if this starts here, I should say 1 2 3 4, and then 5 6 7 8, and then ninth byte. So for ninth byte from here is what? So I have to go something like 9 A B C D E F, and then 0 1. Okay, so it should be something like this. I'm just writing over here, just don't mind. Should be 9 1. So I just counted 9 characters or 9 bytes from here. Okay, so now I have to write this in which format? Little endian format. So I have to say something like backslash x91, backslash xd0, backslash xff, backslash xff. So this is the return address which I want to keep. So I go here, I go back and change this address to this, and let's see what happens. And phi skipped. So it completely changed. Tries to execute shellcode. Okay, it reached the final bytes, I guess. Okay, it did not execute any of these bytes. So let's use some NOP-SLED. For example, NOP-SLED should look something like this. Backslash x90, and then I'll just copy this bunch of times and hit enter. And as you can see, I have my knob sled over here. And let me check the stack, and I see the return address here, and this return address should point to something over here. And what if I keep this address, for example 98? I can keep 98, but let's add few more bytes so that it would be clear what I'm doing. Mhm, mhm. Hit enter, and if I check the stack, you can see it's pretty clear right now, right? So if I select this address right now, I will be selecting this address. Okay, so if I select this address, it would just slide down and execute the shellcode, right? So this is 88. So I go back and change this address to \x, and I think I have written here, right? So I'll just change this to 88. This is 88. Okay, so this address, if I just paste it here, and if I hit enter, I should see something that is skipped. Okay, if I just continue, okay, if I let me check the stack, and this return address is this, so it should execute the shellcode. All I have to do is continue. So C for continue, and you see that it's a huge of this thing, and as you can see the shellcode actually executed. I should get a shellcode if I use the same thing. So I'll just copy this. I'll just copy it from here because this is a subshell. As you can see, it is a dollar, and this is a subshell which will execute this whole thing and give it as input to the program, right? So I'll just exit out of here. I will run Behemoth 7 and run this subshell and hit enter. Okay, code dump illegal instruction. So it has to be some, it has to do something with this x88. So if I come out of this bound debugger, this memory address would slightly change. So what if I change this memory address slightly? For example, if I keep something like 90, what happens? Okay, now I got a different thing, right? So let me change some more things. What if I keep something like 98 or something? Okay, still segmentation fault. Okay, should I go up? What if I keep D1? Okay, illegal instruction. Looks like I am out of that. So I should keep D0, but let me change it to A. Let's see. Illegal instruction again. Looks like I'm still out of bounds. Let me go back something like 88. 88 is already tried, so let me give it 78. Illegal instruction. Hmm. Let me go a little bit back. Something like 68. Okay, boom, I got the shell. So I just have to change this a little bit, and so that this address should be inside this shellcode. Pretty interesting, right? Should be inside this knob sled, and knob sled will slide down and execute the shellcode. So let me see, who am I? And I am Behemoth 8, effective user ID. So let me get, okay, let me find that file. Find // type file, name Behemoth 8. Okay, too much permissions. I have to say this /dev/null, all the errors, done. Let's cat this file. I got this. Exit out of here, exit out of here as well. And let me check any chat. Okay, I don't see any chat. Paste this, hit enter, and let me type vshell. Before that, let me see ls cat congratulations, and then vshell. It should update this thing. Let me just reload again. I should no longer get the same ranking. Okay, I have, okay, I'm here. My current rank is 2242. So I'll just copy this. Okay, my country rank did not change. I should work a little bit harder. Okay, anyway, country rank 2242. I mean, global rank is 2242, country rank is 34. Okay, I'll be happy with this because I have jumped 2 country ranks. Okay, next time when I come, I should be able to get at least 2 more country ranks. I have 1% here and 1 more here. Okay, it's gonna be difficult, but I have to do it somehow. At least 1 rank should be crossed. Okay, so that's it for this video, and hope you enjoyed this. Hope you increased your rank in BHL, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.